What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to A Certain Point of View and our Star Wars tournament breakdown series that we're doing here on the channel. We are back this week, and we have quite the show for you today. Obviously, everyone knows that in the Schmoedown community, yesterday was the massive doubleheader for the Star Wars tournament, right? We had Mr. Dimalanta versus Scrimshaw, and we had Adam Witt versus Molly Damon, and we're going to be discussing both matches today for you. It's funny because the first match was definitely the heavyweight out of the two, but there's not that much to talk about in the first match compared to the second match. And so it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. And today, joining me, per usual, is Mr. Avlicino. How you doing over there, man?
Doing good, doing good. Just looked at Twitter to a good message. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So very, very exciting stuff today. And we're going to get right into this, guys. We're going to start with the first match that happened yesterday. That is Mr. Andrew Dimalanta, the Hunter, versus the Jedi Master himself, Joseph Scrimshaw. A very, very highly anticipated match. One that people have been looking forward to for a while, not just because of the tournament, but because it was pushed back a week, and for rightful reasons, obviously. And so we get a sweet doubleheader that began with this match. And I got to say, man, it 100% lived up to the hype. Like I talked about in the very opening of the show, there really isn't a lot to discuss with it because there was only one missed question. And we'll talk about the ending of it, obviously. But they literally were perfect through the entire game. And then it goes to OT, right? The one question there at the end. And it's crazy. It's funny because we had talked about it multiple times on the show here specifically, is that's exactly what we expected to happen. And it still feels like it's an awe-dropping moment that it did happen.
Yeah. Jill called it. She said no one was going to miss anything and go to overtime. And that's exactly what happened. And yeah, seriously. I mean, especially if that Lord of the Rings match isn't going to count towards it, that one's easily number one in my opinion.
Yeah, and like I've mentioned a couple times here, there's not really a whole lot to discuss with this match as far as wheel slices or categories or questions or anything like that. The only thing that we can really discuss here is the final question of the match, the challenge, the OT question. And as much as I hate it, as much as I absolutely hate it, it was a right call. It was the right move for Dimalanta and the Finstock Exchange to challenge it, because that was not the correct answer. And as much as I hate the fact that the match ended on that, it makes sense. It's not the exact way it should have happened, but that's just what should have happened. And so it's right. It's the correct way the match should have ended because of that specific answer. And as much as it burns me, because it's Scrimshaw versus Dimalanta, and to that point, they had missed a question. I was hoping that they would go 50 rounds into OT. Mm-hmm. It just so happened to end on that kind of note. And, Dimalanta walks away with the victory, and he finally gets that goose egg off the record. Yeah,
I echo literally everything you said. Did I want it to end on a challenge? No, obviously. I would have loved to see at least a couple OT rounds out of this, just for the way it was going and just to build that nervous energy and anxiousness that you're getting watching it. But it was absolutely the right move on their part. I want to know if Scrimshaw would have gotten that, or he actually just flubbed, or he knew it and just didn't write the whole thing. But he's a stand-up person, so I don't think he would ever reveal it, just because it almost kind of I knew it, but and he doesn't seem like that person. He was giving him credit afterwards for doing what he did.
And real quick, just before you move on, because I want to make sure that I mention it, what you just touched on about how if he knew it or if he just made a mistake. Sam Levine talked about it in the next match about how they want specific answers. It's not just like in this case, it's not just Luke, but it's Luke's hatred. And that pulls directly from the quote, which is what Dimalanta had mentioned. And so it makes sense, but maybe that's just something that, and we had talked about it before this match in the preview, that maybe that's just something Scrimshaw didn't realize or remember, is that it has to be super specific in the answers. Because I also remember earlier in the match, during an Obi-Wan Kenobi question is that Scrimshaw had answered Ben, but Dimalanta answered Ben Kenobi. So I wonder if he could have challenged that and been like, well, it's actually Ben Kenobi and not Ben. And maybe that's just something that Scrimshaw didn't realize.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, does it suck it ended on a challenge? Yeah, obviously. Nothing's better than a heated match like this, and you're hearing answers, and then you hear two different ones, and then Christian calls it, and then that second you're waiting for him to say who it is.
Yeah.
Like that, obviously that's what everyone wants. But
we want it in a Lord of the Rings situation or a Dan Murrell, Ben Bateman situation in a live event. That's what we want.
Yes. But I mean, again, was it the right challenge? Absolutely. Is there an argument for it? No, because that literally is exactly what should have been done. That's, I mean, if you know what you're talking about, like Dimalanta did, and he clearly knew he was right, you challenge it. I mean, especially if you're in overtime. So, yeah.
This is a great point by Brian here. Scrimshaw has always been hilarious, but he pulled it all out, all the stops out for this one. I mean, he was great, such a great entertainer. He's meant for this type of thing as not just a competitor, but a personality. And yes, you are correct. That opening graphic when Harloff's saying "Let's get ready to Schmoedown" is legit. It's funny because it really does hit his words beat by beat when he talks about "Let's get ready to Schmoedown," how the graphic moves. So I'm definitely on that side of it. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know. It does suck that the match did end that way, but speaking of just the match in general, I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, they literally just went haymaker for haymaker. They were going back and forth. Like I mentioned, they didn't miss a single question until that specific question. And for a lot of people, it ended the way it was supposed to, not how it was supposed to, but like just how it was supposed to as far as who won. Dimalanta moves on, and this is something that he's been talking about. It's something a lot of people have been talking about around the league. He really does look like someone who could be very, very scary and lethal to not just competitors in this tournament, but to someone like an Alex Damon.
Yeah, this was a finals type match. Literally, it's a finals type match. This is something you would want out of a championship match, and this was a first round match. We knew Dimalanta was coming. Laura Kelly, when we talked to her, that's all she said. She's never seen someone so hungry and ready to go after someone like he is. And that's exactly what we saw. Let's see.
Brian makes a good point here. Makes a really good point here. And then that's something that I haven't been able to watch yet. I just watched the matches, haven't gone back to fan Q&A. It makes sense, and he played the game smart that way. And we also have a comment from our fellow co-host here, Jill. She's watching but has it on mute. She agrees with everything we're saying, most of it anyway. So yes. But yeah, Dimalanta, he called it. He's been talking about it. A lot of people have been talking around the league. And as of right now, he's officially moving on in the bracket, and we'll talk about who he's playing next. And this is what it looks like so far. Scrimshaw right there, wiped out on the left-hand side. And that match is on June 24th, so just a few weeks away here. Matches are getting slimmer in this tournament as the players get eliminated, so these matches are coming back around very quickly. And like I had said, he looks to be someone who is just ready to take on anybody in this league. It was pretty impressive what he did.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw someone, I forget where, if it was on Twitter or on Facebook, one of them, someone said, can you imagine if we had a loser's bracket that fights their way all the way back?
That'd be amazing.
Oh my God.
So
can you imagine?
That could have been something that could have been done if this started when COVID first started.
Yeah.
If COVID had first started and this started right away, to lengthen it out, that could have definitely happened. And that would have been awesome. Like, you have to go 0-2 to be eliminated. Like, that would have been so much fun to see. And maybe that's something to do in the future, because there's only 8 to 10 competitors in Star Wars, and they can do it like for 2 months long or something. But that would be really, really cool. Imagine a Scrimshaw versus an Adam Witt, or a Scrimshaw versus a Sean Sullivan, and like, that would be crazy.
Yeah, God, I can only imagine. Can you imagine just like a matchup, just like Dimalanta and Scrimshaw? They did this battle of not losing a question, comes down to a challenge. All of a sudden, Scrimshaw makes his way all the way through, back up, and now you've got round 2.
And then he faces Dimalanta again. Ooh,
for
awesome.
a championship. Oh my God. It would be future of it, hopefully.
Yeah. But as far as what it did for the Finstock Exchange, we already knew that they were at the lead of the pack. But it added 3 more points for them and put them 4 points above the Den and 6 points above Swag there. So they gapped the faction below them just a little bit more there, and just padding their lead even more so. And as of right now, it looks like they can pad it a lot more because Dimalanta looks like someone that a lot of people should be worried about at this moment. And with the Den kind of struggling, and we don't know what we're going to get from Swag at the moment in the IG tournament, as well as with Ace in this tournament as well. It just seems like the Finstock Exchange right now is kind of just locking themselves in as a favorite going forward for the rest of the year.
I know. They have all their competitors still in both tournaments, as far as we know from releases. It's like, come on, like
scary. Scary.
Yeah, it's like, almost like, I would say, well, I'm trying to think. I think almost everyone has a competitor out of one of those except for them.
Yeah, they haven't lost anybody yet because the Barbarian just aired. For those of you who are watching, it did just air, and he ended up beating Adam Lavick, which is a Swag member. So a Swag member is out of the IG tournament.
Didn't just spoil it.
Yeah, it's aired for a little while there. So yeah, they're scary. They're scary, and as of right now, that's it. It looks like they're just a team that, and we knew it. They're just a team to look out for. So, But let's go ahead and real quick. A good point here from Brian. This match is coming up next in the tournament. And as of right now, from what we know, is that Robert Meyer Burnett had recorded 2 matches, and those were IG matches, which is one of the final one is airing tomorrow with Brendan Hanna. Ken and Ace's match is next week, which means we will have a manager for that match. We will have a manager, which means we will know who the manager is by next week. Earliest could be this weekend. And so stay tuned for that, and we'll definitely be discussing that. Hopefully it comes out before this weekend because we're shooting on Sunday, so that'd be great. But we will definitely see.
I will say this for that. If anyone could go through a match without needing a manager, it'd probably be Ken.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's fair to say that out of anyone, that would be like the safest, I guess, if you want.
I agree.
To get through without a match. But we've got a week. So.
Yeah, we have a week. Okay, so our next match that we're going to be discussing, obviously, is the Adam Witt and Molly Damon one here. And let's start here real quick. Not only is this just a brilliant graphic, but that promo was probably the best promo I've ever seen in my entire life for Schmoedown.
I've watched it an unhealthy amount of times.
It is truly brilliant how it works. It coincides with each other, obviously, and a lot of them have been doing that lately. We saw that with the Sean Sullivan one with Kate, where she tossed the Clorox bottle. But this time they take it a step further and then go Star Wars, and you can see Adam Witt pull the beads off of Molly Damon's neck, and then later on his hand pops up trying to steal the belt. It truly is brilliant. And I sent a tweet out to Nerd Chronic about the editing, and he's right. It was a lot to do with producing from the players and how they dealt with it and how they shot it. And it's just, bravo to both Adam Witt and Molly Damon for doing that. But as far as this match goes,
and Alex,
yes, Alex's moments were great. Alex's moments were great for sure. But as far as this match goes, a lot to discuss. But let's just start with this right off the bat. Holy challenge! Like I needed a drink after this match. Like I legitimately just needed to sit back and decompress because my Lord, the first 3 questions took about 40 minutes off the table.
Well, you didn't watch it live, did you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So it was funny because when you texted me, you had said, let me know when the match is over.
Yeah. And you said, whoo, or whatever you had said. Yeah.
We were still on the second challenge of the second question of round 1. I was like, how do I say something in response to you without giving it away?
Good call, Leo. Good call.
Yeah,
And then also
very good
Brian
call.
here, known as the Chess Challenge Central.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. For someone watching it live, trying to like give you a like, yeah, it might just be a little bit longer without giving that. I've never seen anything like that. I take that back. Well, that one that Leo just posted, but man, if that doesn't show you the seriousness and competitiveness of the Star Wars division, I don't know what does.
Yeah, and so there were 3 total challenges. 2 of them ended up being withheld, which means the challenges were won at that point. Sam won the first one, and then Adam Witt came in and said, yes, I want to challenge that. The funny thing is that both of them ended up getting the question wrong. Even Adam had it wrong at that point, so it didn't really even matter. But he got to keep the challenge. You got to keep the challenge. Well, yes, because it the perfect round. Because because it didn't result in the perfect round for the first round, but you get to keep the challenge. The very next question, he challenged it again, ended up losing that, couldn't challenge there from going forward, which again took about 30 or 40 minutes for them just to finish that round, which is crazy. But after round 1, after it all concluded, Molly walked away with a 9-7 lead. Again, no perfect rounds for either of them because of that challenge. Even though they were looking for something just called shields and they both had that, they went back to something specific once the challenge was made. Crazy first round, but definitely a strong first round for both of them. And honestly, the first time in this tournament that we've seen outside of the play-in match, we've seen competitors miss more than one question. Speaking of Adam Witt here, because a lot of times it's basically just punch for punch, and it's either a 9-9, 9-10, or 10-10 most of the time.
Yeah. First off, how the way they handled challenges was fantastic. I
don't know if you know what this means, Brian.
No, I have no idea what that means.
SEN. Yeah. Good call, Brian. Great call.
But the way challenges went down was handled perfectly. I mean,
I will say one thing. They need to make the challenge graphic longer.
Yeah, sure.
They literally someone had to be there pressing the button to keep playing it because it kept taking a little longer.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, they did a great job. It was done well. They took the time they needed to. I think at the end of the day, we would rather have waited there a little longer and got a good solid reason behind it than a rushed just to appease us. So bravo to Christian Ellis and PJ and all the other writers, whoever he was talking to during that challenge, because I think as frustrating as it was to see, I can only imagine how frustrating it was to them trying to figure these out, but it was done very well. And I have no complaints about how challenges went down.
I agree
at all.
I completely agree. So we move on to the second round here. And this is where it got interesting. So Adam Witt ended up going first. Molly deferred, and she deferred right away. She had her mind made up. And so Adam Witt spins first, lands on the last Jedi, elects to respin again, and lands on Revenge of the Sith, something that he is well known to be comfortable with in the world of Star Wars. Ends up going 4 for 5 here with just one multiple choice for 7 points. So at that point, he is leading 14-9. So the questions go back to Molly here. She spins, gets mixed bag, says, no bueno, that is not for me. He likes to respin. She lands on Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, I know. She lands on Revenge of the Sith, and then she gets solo after another respin, which I wasn't sure how that was going to end up personally, but it ended up going really well because she went 5 for 5 and just 2 multiple choice questions for 8 points. So she gets 1 more point, patted on top of her lead for a 17-14 lead on Witt. It's interesting. You made the mixed bag point. I would absolutely love to see someone just basically drop their Kohanis on the table and be like, I'm picking mixed bag. Like, that's what I'm going with. You know, that'd be absolutely crazy. I don't know if it would happen, but it would be pretty fun to see. But as far as second round goes, both were strong. Luckily, Adam Witt had a 2-point deficit and then ended up going with a 1 multiple choice because it allowed Molly to play more safe and more comfortable, and she definitely played to that strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they were well handled second rounds. When I saw Solo, I went, uh-oh.
Yeah, I was a little nervous. I wasn't sure how that. I know how much Alex loves the movie, but I wasn't sure how much that's in her territory. Because really, honestly, at this point, we don't know what are like her heightened strengths compared to like the mid-tier stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for most of the competitors, I mean, they're around that age, kind of like we are probably, that movies 1 through 6, you're going to know probably a solid foundation's worth. Anything after that is kind of new, fresh. I mean, Solo's not that old. Rogue One's not that old. The prequels, sequels are not that old, especially if you get Rise of Skywalker. So, I mean, yeah, seriously. They're probably going to have to start doing that. If
just a bunch of star questions.
Yeah.
What about Starship Troopers?
Or Spaceballs. Throw Spaceballs in there.
I would be okay with Spaceballs and Star Wars, personally. I would be okay with Spaceballs and Star Wars.
But yeah, I mean, so I think other than probably Witt, just because we know he loves Solo. I mean, he was wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
I would kind of just be like, uh-oh, for anyone, not just Molly, just because it's a newer category. Anytime I see a prequel, Solo, and 50-50, maybe Rogue One, I'm probably going to say, uh-oh. But she handled it. She
played it perfectly as far as going to multiple choice. And it's funny because she would have ended up going 5 for 5, which is 1 multiple choice, but she had the brain fart on the Kira question, which is a very simple question if you think about it, but sometimes you just get a brain fart. And she knew it right away. As soon as it was said, she knew it right away, and she got the 1 point. But again, that plays to her, or that goes to her strong play, in that even though she may have thought she could have used repeat and pulled it, she decided, you know what, I have a lead. Let's be comfortable here. Let's go with the multiple choice. And she ended up getting the correct one right.
Yeah, there's no point in guessing at that point and then screwing up. I mean, it's a very obvious answer, but it's still one that if you have a brain fart, you're going to be like, oh, crap. I mean, it happens to me all the time when I'm playing against you. Like, well, there day.
Watch our latest reaction, guys. You'll see 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah. Who played not Iron Man? Who played War Machine in the first movie?
Yeah.
Duh. Yeah. Who played Hela?
Who is it, Brian? Who is it?
It's Terrence Howard. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
But like,
gotta make sure.
Or literally, they're burned into my head now because it's so obvious. But that's something she'll probably never worry about again. Like when we played in the who plays Hela? Duh. Like it just happens. It happens, but she knows how to play, and she knows how to. That's even though it's a newer match for her, she knows how to play the game, and that's going. It did help her in the long run. And she said
it in her promo how she's essentially just been helping the champion for the last however many years. Like
anytime, I love that she said, anytime you see him look to the side, you know it's me, and it's just like I
love that side of her. That side of her is great. That's awesome. So yeah, we move into the third round here. And Molly walks in with a 3-point lead on Adam Witt, which means at this point, essentially everybody is going to have to answer their questions unless Adam magically misses every single one of his. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. All 6 questions were asked. 4 of them were answered correctly, 2 for each. And so Adam ended up going 2 for 3, answering his first 2 correctly, missing his 5-pointer. At that point, he had a 3-point lead on Molly, or 2-point lead, excuse me. And so Molly really just had to answer her first and her second question to end up winning the whole thing. But how it shook out is she answered the first question right, which is the Saifa Diaz question, missing the Grand Moff Tarkin question, but again, getting a category who said it, which is very difficult for a lot of people.
Very.
Because especially something in like Star Wars, and then getting Villains 3, which again, I didn't know how that was going to shake out. When I first thought that, I was like, ooh, that can be really, really tough. But then she gets a question that plays to her strategy. And like she mentioned at the end, not even a question that she knew correctly from the movies, but from Clone Wars with the Dooku question. Yeah. And she knew it.
Know it.
I knew it. I knew
it too. I was like,
yeah.
Oh,
and I knew it from Clone Wars. I knew it from Clone Wars. And so it's really cool how that ends up playing out. But yeah, she ends up walking away with a 5-point victory on Adam Witt, 24-19, getting the usual suspects their points there. Really, really cool. She crushed it. It was I wanted her to win. I wasn't sure how it would shape up. But I'm really happy to see how it shook out. And it was a really, really great match overall.
Yeah. Honestly, I was kind of 50-50 on who won, to be completely honest. I like them both a lot. So I was just kind of like, every time someone would get one, I'd be like, yes. And no matter who it was, if someone got it wrong, I'm like, oh no. So I'm just kind of like sitting there like, I don't even know what I want. But yeah, it was a great match. And I mean, if you didn't think that she knows her stuff,
she does now.
Yeah. And so I do want to say that, and I know some people...
We have a comment right here. I'll throw this up. We got to talk about this real quick because I didn't know about this.
That's literally what I was about to start talking about.
I didn't.
Yes.
So for me, the Twitch stream chat goes so quickly. It's hard for me to keep up. So I just turn it off.
Well,
it gives me a headache.
It wasn't just on Twitch. Go ahead. You want me to take it?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying everything went so fast on Twitch. It's very hard for me to keep it up. To keep it up. But I'll just say this quickly because I don't know if we're going to take too much time on this because to me, this is just outlandish and ridiculous. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all because obviously the lead up to this, Molly had been saying, I want to do this myself. I want to do this myself. And whether or not you believe her is your own opinion. But to me, they just seem like the most wholesome people to and those words seem true. And to claim that she is cheating or that they are cheating just to make sure she gets through or something, to me is very wrong in multiple different ways. And so it's something that I'll never believe. I don't know the accusations about what the proof is or whatever, but it really is just something ridiculous and stupid in my opinion. And it's the first time hearing about it as well. And so, but yeah, take the floor, Brian. You can go ahead and give us some more story or background of this just quickly.
So I saw this while it was playing out on Twitch, and then someone posted it in Facebook, which I want to say within 2 minutes, it got deleted. The comment got deleted on Facebook. Absolutely in no way did this woman cheat. I guarantee you what he was doing was probably sitting next to her, watching the match, probably with headphones on an iPad or something. And when she heard him say the question right, or when she said the question right, gave her a high five. That's it. I'm tired of the people. She has her own brain. She knows Star Wars better than most of us. They don't need to cheat. Why would they cheat? Why? There's no reason. There's none whatsoever. Why would he do that? Why would she do that? It's stupid to even try to
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Have a comment from her, Marcel. There she is.
Yeah, it's there.
And that's exactly what I thought. That's exactly. Why would he even be in the room? Like what? He would be probably watching on a giant screen TV somewhere. You know what I mean? Like
so dumb. So dumb. She has.
Thank you, Molly.
Brain.
Thank you, Molly.
Yes, thank you. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I'm glad it got shut down fast because Goddard went on Twitch right after on his and shut it down fast too for anyone that was on it. Like he's like, that's the most stupid thing I've ever heard. And if someone's going to come in and say stuff like that, they don't even need to be in the.
It's crazy because this community is so special and so strong, and there's a lot of great things about this community, but there's moments like this that kind of highlight that toxicity that we talk about with certain franchises like a Star Wars, right? Where there are those called trolls who come in and will find any
Absolutely.
way to lesser something for someone. And look, if you're an Adam Witt master fan, that's awesome. I feel for you that he lost and he's out of the tournament, but don't go after someone just because they beat that person, or you think that, like, if you're not a fan of Molly Damon, that's fine, but don't go after the person and claim that they're cheating.
Stupid.
Like, it's the
she
same
had
thing we
giant
talk about.
headphones on. How's she even going to hear him?
Yeah, like it's just it's absolutely ridiculous that some people would claim this, because, and it's just like in sports. Like, sports have cheating, yes, but there's a lot of people in sports who don't cheat, and it's ridiculous, and it's a dumb accusation, and it's the last time that we're going to talk about it, because it's just stupid and ridiculous, and it's something that just doesn't make sense. And like I said, this was the first I heard of it, and so I'm shocked right now. Like, I'm really shocked.
And that's what I was going to say, is it's the first you've heard of it, because
it was shut down so quickly.
It was shut down so quickly because it was baseless and stupid, absolutely stupid. Yeah. And so like we said, we're not talking about it after this because, like we said, it was stupid. But for whoever thinks that, you're an idiot. Sorry, flat out.
Yeah, hey, it's true. It's very true. So yeah, Molly ends up walking with the victory here, which is awesome. And this is how the bracket shakes out. She is facing the Hunter himself, Dimalanta. Very interesting that their matches essentially played up on the same day. And Molly had said that she wasn't able to watch his match beforehand, obviously, because she's preparing. I'm sure she's either watched it by now or is getting ready to. I'm sure Dimalanta stayed on to watch her perform against Adam Witt. Very, very cool here. I know that Dimalanta pretty much showed up in the first match and didn't miss a question, but he essentially got all the stuff he wanted to as far as categories and questions. That's how it ended up for him. We don't know how the next match is going to go. We don't know how it's going to shake up for Molly. We don't know how it's going to shake up for Andrew. What's going to happen. And so it's very exciting. So right now, that is how the bracket looks. The next match we have is Knapsack versus Cabrera next week, which is going to, the winner's going to end up facing Laura. But very cool. These 5 competitors are very, very cool and interesting. They're all different from each other. And the tournament here in the next few weeks is going to be very exciting. Yeah,
I'm still hoping for my ladies final. That's what I've said from the beginning. So that's what I'm going to
It'd be really cool. It'd be really cool.
I'm going to pull for, because the women in this league have taken this league by storm. I mean, the ladies are the first names you hear pretty much when you talk about this division. That's awesome.
Can you imagine that promo just real quick? The promo between Laura and Molly?
It would be the greatest promo of all time. I already said I've watched the Adam Witt and Molly one a ridiculous amount of times. I watched it this morning. I'm not afraid to admit it.
I watched it this afternoon to do the notes and breakdown. It was a great match. It's a great match. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, God, what I would do to see those two go at it.
Well, it is definitely possible, Brian. It is definitely possible. But with Molly's victory here, she catapults the suspects up to 4th place with 7 points. They were in 8th place at the time, and she gets them a good 3 points, and puts them right back in the swing of things, because the usual suspects across both tournaments have players on both ends that could really do some damage for their faction. And Sam, in the matter of just a few weeks, could have some good things coming for him. And not to mention, if we get back to normal studio matches, his faction right now, along with the Droogs, have the least amount of played matches. And that plays into the fact that when we get back to studio matches, because they could end up getting a lot of the matches. So it's very exciting here. And it does a great thing for Sam. And I'm sure the suspects all around are very excited.
Yeah, I mean, it shows when you put that graphic up. They've had 5 matches and they have 7 points and in 4th place. They've
real quick, Brian. I gotta cut you off real quick just for this quick second. This is great. Hello, Mr. Witt, and just a great comment here. But the match overall was brilliant, and I mean,
yeah, it lived up to what I was hoping for. To be honest, as much as the first match was just incredible, this one was more entertaining to me personally, and not just because of the challenges.
I think I like the second match more because it was more back and forth. You were kind of on the edge of the seat. You know, you were expecting what we got with the first one, and realistically, we would have been happy either way if Scrimshaw won or Dimalanta because they're both powerhouses.
Yeah,
but the match with Adam and Molly was just so back and forth, and that's why it was so exciting.
Yeah, and that's what I was hoping for. Those are my favorite ones, like where it's just you don't know. But like I was saying with the standings, I mean, they've had the least amount of matches, and they're in fourth place.
Yep,
that's scary because that's showing you they're taking advantage of their matches. They're winning their matches for the most part when they play. And if that's the case, then you're going to climb the standings.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was a great day for Star Wars in the Schmoedown tournament. But I'm still going to hope for next year that loser bracket fight its way back in.
Maybe we find our way to Harloff one day and we're like, dude, do a losers bracket. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm sure all the players will be down for it too.
If any division can, if they're going to implement that, it would be Star Wars just for the amount of competitors. The only thing that sucks is those poor writers have to find more questions.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure at the end of this tournament, they're going to have to find more questions anyway. So, there it is, guys.
I was going to say, next move is going to be, will be TV. And if that's the case, Lord, 100%. God bless whoever has to do that.
Yeah. Well, at this point, we're just waiting for Lucasfilm to make more questions. So, all right, guys. Well, there it is. Our breakdown of yesterday's Star Wars matches. Again, Dimalanta versus Scrimshaw and Witt versus Damon. Two incredible matches that really shook up the tournament in multiple different ways. And thank you guys for commenting along the discussion here. Our usuals with Brian and Leo and a couple others, and of course Molly and Adam stopping by and throwing their names in the ring a little bit. That was awesome. But again, guys, we're going to be doing this every Thursday. The time might shift a little bit later next week because we want to make sure that we include our other co-host on this with Jill and get her involved in these conversations. But for now, you guys can just stay tuned on our Twitter account, which we are teasing stuff and make sure we're posting times and all that type of stuff. It's pretty much where our schedule lives. So make sure you guys are following us at Schmoedown POV, as well as our match breakdowns, which include the Intergeekdom tournament and Star Wars tournament, and our main show are on podcast as well, which you can see right above Brian right there, and you can do his little fingers like he usually does. So this is our breakdown for today. Thank you guys for joining us so much. Make sure you guys stay tuned for our show on Monday. Might have some cool couple special guests coming your way. But for now, that is Brian. I am Jake. We are a Certain Point of View, and we will see you guys next time.